Did my boss actually just hand me a red card and walk away? I posted that. The comment section exploded. People were begging for the drama. So here's what really happened to me and the boss who thought he could bully a 30-year-old mom with a full-time job. I had been working at the call center for 2 years. Every day, the boss, Mr. Jenkins, would hurl pointless efficiency directives at us, then micromanage every single call. He'd take my calls, claim my voicemail wasn't good enough, and then send the next line to the manager with a smiley face emoji. One Tuesday, he handed me a new performance plan that listed ridiculous goals like call more than 150 customers a day. In my mind, 50 seemed doable. In reality, that was a 50% increase. The last thing I wanted was to be fired, but I also wanted him to feel the sting of a system he had abused. Step 1. The first week, I answered every call in the most polite, helpful way I could. I logged every complaint from him. I recorded every feedback he gave, anonymously of course. Step 2. I started a company-wide anonymous thread on the intranet and posted how I felt when Mr. Jenkins tried to break us into the efficiency club. The next day, he walked in, looking at his own email. The inbox was full of messages. One from HR. You're under investigation. He'd gotten the full extent of his own micromanagement, complete with screenshots. He tried to call me, the only one who had a good enough voicemail, but the call center's call volume was at an all-time high. In that frantic moment, the phone line to me was jammed. I took a deep breath and the phone rang. It was HR. We found several employees who felt harassed by you. We're offering a formal mediation. He stared at me, his eyebrows knit. I thought about that red card I'd posted, and I let him think it was me. After the meeting, the entire office knew the truth. Jenkins left the company after a month. No one could ignore that the boss who treated his staff like a spreadsheet was the one who got the memo. And for me, I got a promotion. It's not a performance plan, I told the manager. It's a career plan. The comments section still asks, what did you do? And I just smile. You think you're a boss, but you're really just a glitch in the system. I was the last person who'd ever think a 9 to 5 could be a battlefield, until I walked into my boss's office and saw the team builder speech turned into a trophy. Speech about how I was the only bad apple who dragged the team down. I had been the quiet one, the guy who never complained, the one who stayed after hours to finish reports. The mic a drop. You're the reason we're behind schedule. Get the hell out of my office and the company. I left with my shoulders slumped, but my mind lit up like a match. What if I turned that humiliation into a viral revenge? I called my friend, a freelance graphic designer, and we drafted a plan that would make the boss's ego crash harder than a skyscraper on a weak foundation. We started by turning his Motivational Monday emails into a parody series. We slipped inside the company's intranet, replaced every single motivational quote with a meme-filled sarcastic version. If your job, a life lesson, if you want to fail, do what I'm doing. The emails were forwarded to the entire staff, but with the boss's signature still intact. Overnight, the office became a battlefield of memes, with the boss's face on everyone. Then we hit the big one, the company's annual presentation that all executives would attend, including the boss. We scheduled a surprise live stream from the conference room. With a camera rig we hid behind a stack of whiteboards. At the moment the boss walked in, the lights flickered, the screen went live on the company's own internal feed. Instead of the expected PowerPoint, a pre-recorded video started playing. It was me, walking through the office, pointing at the walls with a marker, narrating in a dramatic, "I've been a victim, but I won't stay silent." The video cut to a montage of the boss's biggest blunders. The last minute, the stream caught the boss's face on every screen, and everyone in the room heard the same message. You can't silence me. I won't. The boss's jaw fell. His phone fell to the floor. He tried to stop the stream, but the signal was already live on the company's servers and was being relayed to every employee's devices. By the time the stream ended, the boss was on the floor, muttering about security protocols. The HR manager had to call for an investigation, but no one dared to question the boss because the evidence was in front of everyone. Within hours, the boss was suspended pending a review, and the company's CEO called a press conference to explain the situation. I never wanted the CEO to hear my name, but they posted a clip from the live stream on LinkedIn, tagging my profile. Suddenly, I became a viral sensation, a whistleblower hero. I'm not saying this is how you should treat a boss, but if you ever feel the system's in your corner, maybe it's time to put a little creative spin on things. Because sometimes the best revenge is turning a humiliation into a headline that makes everyone's inbox explode. I thought I could finally get a raise, but my boss had a plan. There I was, 34, slashing spreadsheets in a cubicle farm, and he walked in, coffee in hand, announcing a company reorg that had turned half the office into interns. I was blindsided. I didn't just walk out, I walked in with a vengeance. I knew the system, the people, and the one thing that mattered to him, the quarterly sales report. First, I sent him a perfectly legitimate email. Can we schedule a quick catch-up about the 3Q projections? Inside was a PDF that looked like the usual board deck, except every bullet point was a witty jab at his ego. You promised to mentor us, but I'm still stuck on the spreadsheet of our doubts. He didn't catch it. It landed in his inbox, opened, printed, and he laughed like a man with a joke he had never heard. Then I posted on the company's Slack channel, anonymously. I slipped in a screenshot of his personal. Office door, locked, no keycard, just the keyhole. The caption? He can't open his own door, yet he thinks he can control everything else. The thread exploded. People started whispering, and the HR email inbox filled with suspicious notifications. The real sting was my quiet walk-in on the night he was supposed to sign the new contract. I was the first one to be there because I knew his schedule. I knocked on the glass door of his office. He was on a video call with a client, eyes on his screen. "Got a minute? We need to talk." His face twisted. He tried to excuse himself, but the camera was still on. I slipped a note across the table that read, "You'll see this when you get the promotion, and it's going to be your own personal PR nightmare." When the next week came, the sales numbers dropped 12%. His reorg plan was a failure. He had to write a memo, admit he'd misjudged me, and offer a performance review that would have to be rewritten because it was literally a joke. The final twist? I got promoted. The very next day, I handed the promotion to him with a grin. "Congratulations," I said. "Enjoy your new role as the guy who can't even keep his own office door locked." I never thought a spreadsheet could be a weapon, but when my boss, Mr. Henderson, slipped a picture of his wife and a stranger into the company's Alley staff channel, I knew I'd found my trigger. He was the guy who couldn't take a joke, who never let anyone finish a sentence, and whose emails had a signature that read, "Best regards, Mr. Henderson, Esk." He'd been in the office for 12 years, and everyone else had either forgotten the guy or pretended he was an extension of the company. But that one photo taken during a business trip showed him in a hotel room with a woman who wasn't his wife. When I saw it, the urge to act erupted in me like a wildfire. The first step was data. I started collecting every screenshot of his office supplies, his schedule, and his habits. I learned he left his office at exactly 4:37 p.m. every day, and that he had a habit of leaving a trail of coffee cups, one of which always contained a small amount of the cheap perfume he'd bought for his wife. My plan was threefold. First, I needed to make him think he was in control. I'd leak his confidential email to the company's HR, and then delete it after a short period to create the illusion of an internal mishap. Second, I'd stage a glitch in his smart lock system. When he tried to enter his office at 4036, the lock would fail, forcing him to call tech support. Third, I'd leave a note in his office, "Your secrets won't stay buried." Execution required a lot of stealth. I worked late nights, downloading his office schedule, hacking the lock system with a borrowed USB, and sending the email from a separate, anonymous account. The day came, and as Mr. Henderson tried to break in, the lock chirped out a refusal. He fumbled, pulled out his phone, and called HR. When I pressed the email, HR's eyes widened, and their response was a call to investigate. The note was a final blow. The office buzzed for weeks. The new guy finally got him, some whispered. I never left the office that day, but I did not need to. I turned a spreadsheet into a strike weapon, and the one thing Mr. Henderson never could was the fear of being seen as a predator in a world where the predator was the one in the corner with a keyboard.